All right, everyone, welcome to today's explainer. Get settled in because I want to start our lesson by asking you to think about a truly grand historical mystery. How exactly did an unremarkable African ape, our ancestors, right, manage to completely dominate the entire planet? For most of history, Homo sapiens were honestly just another animal. We were no more impactful on the environment than a gorilla or a jellyfish. But then, well, something changed. So today, we are going to unpack the incredible sociological and anthropological theories behind that massive transformation. Here's our roadmap for today's class. We'll decode the mystery of our success, explore the cognitive revolution, and understand the real power of shared myths. Then, we'll actually question if this revolution happened the way some claim, before wrapping up with how we're still captive to these stories today. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the mystery of our success. Okay, let's really dive into this. Look back hundreds of thousands of years. We definitely weren't the only humans around. You had Neanderthals, Denisovans, Homo erectus, so why did we survive? Why did Homo sapiens thrive while all the others went extinct? Well, to understand our success, it helps to look at our closest living relatives. Imagine, if you will, taking 10,000 chimpanzees and dropping them right into the middle of Wall Street, or maybe a massive sports stadium. It would be absolute pandemonium, right? Complete chaos. And that's because chimps rely entirely on personal, intimate relationships to cooperate. They simply can't manage a group larger than a few dozen. But sapiens, we seamlessly form complex, orderly networks. We cooperate in the billions without ever needing to know each other personally. Which brings us to section 2, the cognitive revolution and the power of fiction. So that ability to cooperate in huge numbers points to a massive paradigm shift in human history. Historian Yuval Noah Harari theorizes that around 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens experienced what he calls a cognitive revolution. Essentially, a mysterious change in our brain function unlocked a brand new capability, the ability to think abstractly. Academic analyses of Harari's work argue that our true superpower wasn't just having a complex language to say, hey, watch out, there's a lion over there. It was developing a language that could transmit fictions. We gained this unprecedented ability to speak about things that literally do not physically exist. We could suddenly say the lion is the guardian spirit of our tribe. Let's move to section 3, the myths that unite us. Now, this unique linguistic ability wasn't just for entertaining each other with campfire stories. It allowed us to create what sociologists call intersubjective realities. These are shared fictions that exist purely in our collective imagination, but they function as the ultimate glue of our society. Think about gods, nations, money, corporations, human rights. Now, here is the absolutely crucial point I want you all to grasp. Not a single one of these things exists in physical nature. You can't reach out and physically touch a corporation. You can't measure a human right in a laboratory test tube. They only have power in the physical world because millions of perfect strangers collectively believe in them. Let's pause for a moment of Socratic questioning. I want you to think about your own life for a second. Why do you trust a simple printed piece of paper or a digital number on a banking app on your phone enough to work your entire life for it? Why on earth do we trade tangible things like food, shelter, and backbreaking labor for it? Well, the answer? Because money is an imagined reality. It's a myth, but it is arguably the most efficient system of mutual trust ever devised by humanity. It really doesn't matter if it's not a physical law of the universe, like gravity. As long as our communal belief persists, that dollar bill exerts massive, incredibly tangible force in our physical world. Moving right along to section 4, memes and social order. So how do these myths spread so effectively across the entire globe? Let's connect Harari's historical ideas to some foundational theories of sociology and biology. As Harari brilliantly points out, fiction is the secret ingredient for mass cooperation. Storytelling basically acts as a broadcasting mechanism for social norms. The famous sociologist Emile Durkheim actually called this the collective conscience, a shared moral framework that holds society together. Myths tell us exactly who we are and how we should behave. They basically function as our society's ethical infrastructure.
And guys, this fundamentally changed the speed of human development. Consider biological evolution for a second. For a species to actually change its behavior genetically, it takes millions of years. But contrast that with cultural evolution, which is driven by what evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins called memes. And no, we're not talking about funny internet jokes here. These are fast-spreading units of culture. Shared fictions act as adaptive cultural shortcuts. They let sapiens solve collective challenges and restructure whole societies almost instantly, completely bypassing the incredibly slow crawl of natural selection.
Okay, Section 5. Was there actually a revolution? Now, as good students of history, we must always question the dominant narrative. Let's shift into critical evaluation mode for a minute. Did this cognitive revolution really happen as a sudden, miraculous leap 70,000 years ago? This timeline shows the current academic debate. Harari points to a sudden leap between 100,000 and 70,000 BCE. However, a lot of anthropologists and geneticists argue that the FOXP2 gene, which is a mutation very closely linked to complex language, actually appeared up to 500,000 years ago. This strongly suggests the biological foundations for language and intelligence are actually hundreds of thousands of years older than the sudden revolution model claims. So the competing academic theory here is that it was a gradual evolution, not a sudden revolution. Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and Denisovans very likely had rich, dynamic cultures, symbolic thought, and language long before sapiens dominated. So our success might not be a sudden spark of magic after all, but rather the slow, cumulative result of hominid evolution and shared cultural exchange over 500,000 years. And finally, Section 6. We are captive to stories. Regardless of exactly when we started weaving these fictions, the reality is that today we are entirely immersed in them. Let's look at this impartially. The ability to create myths is a bit of a double-edged sword. Scholars writing from anarchist and anti-capitalist perspectives often point out that intersubjective realities are frequently used to enforce systems of domination. Fictions like the modern state, physical borders, or capitalism itself are maintained by narratives that serve to consolidate power. But these same critics also highlight a really crucial weakness in the system. Because these orders only exist in our minds, if people simply stop believing in the story, the entire system can change. You see, modern institutions rely heavily on what we call narrative infrastructure. To keep a society functioning smoothly without collapsing into tyranny, this infrastructure has to be managed really carefully. Successful systems work with our underlying psychological need for stories by building overlapping, resilient narratives. They allow for the gradual evolution of these stories over time, and perhaps most importantly, healthy infrastructure distributes agency so that lots of people, not just a powerful few, can actually participate in constructing our shared reality. Class, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Basically, everything around you right now, the laws you follow, the money in your pocket, the borders of your country, is a product of human imagination. They are fictions we have all just agreed to treat as real. So, if our entire world is built on stories, what new myth will we invent tomorrow? The future of humanity depends entirely on the next story we collectively choose to believe in. Thank you for joining me for today's Explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the narratives around you.